What's going on, guys, and welcome to the next Crack a Pack episode. Today we are finishing out the week with a pack of Ixalan. Obviously not the most valuable set of all time since it is fairly new and everything, but there are some really good pulls in this, so hopefully we get something awesome. Of course, we're going to look at this from a pack one, pick one perspective, so we'll do our best to figure out what our actual draft pick would be if we were drafting this set. With that, we'll go through every card, and we start with a Tillinolly's Knight. It's a 2/2 for 1 and a red, and when it attacks, if you control a dinosaur, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is really good in sort of the red-white aggro dinosaur deck. Obviously, you want to be focusing on getting the dinosaurs, but this is a really good support, just kind of solid 2-drop for that deck. Not a first pick by any means, but definitely a decent card. Queen's Commission is 2 and a white for a sorcery. Create 2 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. Obviously, this goes in the vampires deck. If you haven't picked up on this and you haven't played Ixalan, tribal is sort of the whole idea here. So there's vampires, there's dinosaurs, there's merfolk, there's pirates, all sorts of awesome stuff. This obviously goes very, very well in the vampire deck, where you're trying to go wide, get some lifelinkers, and then deal a bunch of damage with that just huge swings. So really fun deck. I do like this card in that deck as well, but again, it's not really a first pick kind of card. Skullduggery, 1 black for an instant. Until the end of the turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1, and target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1. This is kind of just a really good combat trick, I would say. It's 1 black, so it's really efficient. Theoretically, you can pick off maybe a 1/1 vampire or something like that with the -1/-1 counter, plus beef up one of your own creatures in combat since it is instant speed. So I do like this card, obviously favoring aggressive decks. Probably going to be the pirates or the vampire deck, obviously. I do like it. Again, not first pick, but I do like it quite a lot. Ryle is 1 red for a sorcery. It deals 1 damage to target creature you control. That creature gains trample until the end of the turn, and then you also draw a card. If this card seems weird, it's mostly because Enrage is a mechanic in this set, where if a creature you control is dealt damage that has Enrage, it actually gets some sort of effect, and that can vary from life gain to direct damage to the opponent, whatever. And so a card like this is really an enabler for that. It also replaces itself, and it's only 1 mana. So a lot of good things about this card, but I really don't like it. I've found it to be really underwhelming. Ideally, most of the time with the Enrage trigger, you're going to be hopefully dealing some combat damage with those creatures, and that's usually how you're going to be able to get those triggers. That being said, if you're really all in on Enrage, I do think this is a worthwhile card, but really not exciting for a first pick by any means. Ixalan's Diviner is a 0/3 for 1 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, it explores, so you reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand if it's a land card. Otherwise, put a 1/1 counter on this creature, then put that card back or put it into your graveyard. So the idea here is that it helps you dig through your deck a little bit and hopefully smooth out your draws. This is kind of a wall for a lot of creatures in this set because there are kind of a lot of lower level creatures. The idea here is that a lot of these, there's lords and things like that, so a lot of these tribes are going to get pumped up with other creatures, so in the early turns it can be a bit grindy. So a card like this does kind of slow the opponent down and smooth out your draws. I like it. It's not a card I'm interested in first picking, but it's definitely something that if I was in sort of a slower green ramp dino deck, this is probably the card I would want. Depths of Desire is an instant for 2 and a blue. Return target creature to its owner's hand and then create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap it, sacrifice this artifact, and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This is a premium bounce spell in Ixalan. Obviously it is just a bounce spell, it's not full on removal, but it's a good tempo play, and it gives you that little artifact kind of left behind for ramping out something on the next turn, or even on the same turn. It is instant speed, so you can do it anytime. I do like this card. Honestly, so far this is the most exciting card for me, just based off of my own draft style. It's really not great for a first pick, but we'll see. Okay, well, here we go. Unfriendly Fire is 4 and a red for an instant, and it deals 4 damage to target creature or player. This is like premium removal for this set. It is instant speed. It does deal it to both creatures or players, so you can actually choose. If you're just trying to get in the last few points of damage, Unfriendly Fire might be the way to do it. It also clears a large number of creatures in this set, so I do like this card quite a lot. So far, this is definitely the most exciting card for me. Obviously, if you disagree, let me know in the comments section, but I do like that card. Dive Down is an instant for 1 blue. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof until end of turn. I don't really like this card in draft so much. It actually sees some play in constructed from my understanding, but I don't like it in draft generally. It really is just used to protect your creatures because it gives hexproof, so if somebody targets something with a removal spell, you can dive down that creature, and then that gains hexproof, so it's no longer a legal target. I do like that it does protect some stronger creatures, but in draft, you're kind of hoping to go wide with a bunch of different threats and not just a singular. You're not like in an all-in strategy, so I'm not a huge fan of this. That being said, there are instances where I would probably want this. If I had some really powerful creatures that I needed to protect, especially in maybe the Merfolk deck, this would be the one that I would want for it. Grazing Whiptail, a fairly straightforward creature, 3/4 for 2 and 2 green, and it has reach. Not super exciting, but actually a pretty good 4-drop. The reach really matters in this set, I think, and being a 3/4 for 4, it's not amazing, but it's okay. I like this. I definitely would run it in a like green dino deck, maybe a ramp style deck. So I'm fine with it. Again, not a first pick by any means, but definitely one I'm not unhappy to see. Demystify is an instant for 1 white, destroy target enchantment. Pretty straightforward card. We see these all the time, and they're definitely sideboard cards. There is a lot of enchantment removal. If I'm remembering correctly, there's a good bit of enchantment removal. So having access to this in a white deck is perfectly reasonable. I would definitely want it. That being said, it's not main deckable by any means, at least I don't think, but it is efficient, so it's something you'd want as a sideboard option. Duskborn Sky Marcher is 1 white for a 1/1 with flying, and you can tap a white and tap it. Target attacking vampire gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is really a great card in the vampires deck. Obviously, elsewhere, it's really just a flyer for a 1/1 flyer for 1, which really isn't terrible anyway, but it's not amazing. Being able to pump up some of your attacking vampires, though, perfectly reasonable effect. It's a decent 1-drop. Again, not better than Unfriendly Fire, I would say, but still definitely a decent card in that deck. Deadeye Quartermaster is a 2/2 for 3 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or vehicle card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is a pretty powerful card. Anything that's really going to be able to fetch something out of your deck is good. If you were to first pick this would be kind of a like sign, okay, I want to go into pirates. I kind of want to get some equipments and vehicles, things like that. If you see something, you would definitely want to take it if you had this. But I prefer to kind of go the other way around, where if I have a vehicle or an equipment and I'm kind of already in that strategy, then this is the card that I'd like to pick up. I wouldn't necessarily want to pick this up first, only because it kind of pigeonholes you a little bit. It keeps you really, really focused, and I'm not a huge fan of that early on. Drover of the Mighty is a 1/1 for 1 and a green. As long as you control a dinosaur, it gets +2/+2, and you can tap to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This is definitely an enabler for the dinosaur deck. It's also just a really powerful card if you already have a dinosaur out. 3/3 for 2 that taps for mana of any color is great. Really, really powerful card. I don't know, I think I'd rather have Unfriendly Fire because it keeps me a little bit more open, but I do like this card quite a lot. And then our rare is Dowsing Dagger, so it's a 2-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2 0/2 plant creature tokens with Defender. The equipped creature gets +2/+1, and when the equipped creature deals damage to a player, you may transform the dagger. It also has an equipment cost of 2. And when you transform it, it turns into Lost Veil, which you can tap to add 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. Essentially, it's a Black Lotus on a land. I actually am not a huge fan of that in draft. I just don't think it's all that exciting. In general, this pack is a little underwhelming. I feel like it's between the Drover of the Mighty and the Unfriendly Fire. I would probably go for the Unfriendly Fire personally. It leaves me a little bit more open. It's just solid removal. It's always going to be good. The Drover of the Mighty may or may not make it into the deck depending on how the draft goes. So I would go Unfriendly Fire, but that's just me. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree. And if you like this video, please make sure to leave a like or a comment down below. And as always, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of our awesome content. But with that, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching this episode of the Crack a Pack series. I will see you guys in the next one.